Okay, bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So in this video, my team Ahda and me Adika gonna make the demo for smart greenhouse. Okay, so here here's TDS for measure the water. Okay, so you can see here in this cup, in this bottle, what the name? The water is clean, but this bottle, the water is dirty. So if the PDS detect that under 150, the pump will turn on. So it detect if the water is dirty. Okay, this the cleaner. Okay, so this the clean water. If we put and the TDS detect that up apa higher 150, you can see in here the TDS 600. But if I put the sensor in dirty water, the TDS is 100. So what's the name, the pump will directly turn on that. Okay, so there is another component. There is a relay for turn on and turn off the pump, and then there is microbit connect from website, and from microbit sending the data to the Firebase. Okay, ready? And then after practice, I will give the time for coding to Ahda.
Okay, thank you, Adika, for giving me time for give the explanation of the code, and I will explain it, inshallah, one by line, so it will make you guys more easy. Okay, so this start from line one until line eight. All of this is a variables, and the purpose of every variables is okay. Let's we start from the suhu. The purpose of the function of the suhu is to store the temperature value. And the next is volt. The function or the purpose of the volt is to store also the voltage from the TDS sensor. And after that, the compensation is to store the temperature compensation value. And CV is to store the compensated voltage. From TDS to store the calculated TDS value. VPN is to store the voltage from the pH sensor. V sensor is to store process sensor voltage, and the pH is to store pH value. Okay, that is the function or the purpose every variables. Okay, now the line of the 10 line is def on underscore every underscore interval. The function is to make a function named on every interval, and the function will run repeatedly every certain of modes. And in here you can see in here loops every interval 500 on every interval. Actually is one code like this, yeah, like this. So all of this code from the this until this, it's inside the function of this one, of these two lines, this one. Now, and so after you already know what is the function of def on every interval, let's we continue to the globals, global and all of the variables in here. Okay. Okay, so the function is these lines tell the Python to use the global variables declared earlier. And without the global text, the variables inside the function will only exist locally. So it will not use the global variables. And after that, this one, this code, it's tell us to reach the temperature from the microbit temperature sensor, and the result is will store in the variable SU. Like example, if the if the microbit show data 28, that means the temperature is 28, like that. And I read the volt pins, this one, it's the function of that things is read analog data from pin 1, and the analog values range from 0 to 1023. And it will convert the value into the voltage. So, and the formula that used in here is voltage equals analog value times 3.3 divide 1023. And by the way, the 3.3, it's the input voltage or the volt input to the microbit. And by the way, every micro have its own input voltage. So like example, let's take example Arduino. Arduino it's 5. So if you use Arduino, you can change the code become 5 like that. And I've read this one. Okay, so the function of that line code is to calculate the temperature compensation. This is used because water conductivity change with temperature. So the program adjusts the sensor reading based on the temperature different from 25 degrees. And after that, this one, the function of this line code is to calculate the compensated voltage. And the voltage is divided by the compensation factor to make the reading more accurate, like that. And this line, it's actually one formula of math. And let's we tell you what is the function. The function actually is to calculate the TDS of value using math formula. The formula you can see it by yourself here. And this one, this one, actually it's a cubic value. And this one, it's a squared value. And the result is estimate the amount of dissolved dissolved solid in water. And the max, this one, max, it's select the larger value between the newly calculated TDS and the rounded previous TDS value. And I've read this the 18 line 18. Actually, you already know the function. So let's we continue to the next. Okay. Okay, so what is the function of def on forever? Def on forever is to create another function that runs continuously forever. And like the name, it will run forever until we stop the code. And this actually it's the same function as this line, but the difference is only the variables like that. And I read this line, it's also a formula that reads analog voltage from the pH sensor and that sorry, reads analog voltage from the pH sensor that connected to the pin 0, and it will convert it into the voltage. So this formula, actually the title of this formula is converts the pH into the voltage because we must have the voltage data. And I read this one, the V sensor is process the sensor voltage by multiplying it by 1,006,024. And this may be intended as a calibration or a scaling process. And I've read this one, this line code, the function is to calculate the pH value using the sensor voltage. And this formula also convert voltage into pH scale. So before that, it will convert from pH to voltage, and with this formula it will convert the voltage into pH again. And by the way, pH it's have 0 until 14 number, and the neutral of the water is 7, pH 7, and the higher value is more basic and the lower value is more acidic. And I've read the serial right value, this one, it will send the pH value to the serial monitor, and the label pH will appear together with the calculated value. And this one is basic pause 100. It will pause the program like about 100 milliseconds only for like a few seconds. And this one, the basic forever, is still one function is this. So actually the same thing. Okay. Okay, maybe that's all from me. Thank you for watching my video. I hope it's beneficial for you guys all. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.